Okay, welcome back to part 20 of Delboy's Garage. This is Project Bandit. Now, Project Bandit is going on nicely. I've been doing all sorts of fun things with the wiring. It's been amazing how long the wiring has eaten so far. It's probably over half the project so far in time. The one thing that's come to mind is how long projects go on for that you don't realise. The actual fabricating of the steel, the cutting off of the back end, the welding in of the trellis, and all those things really didn't take that long compared to how long the wiring's taken to get a nice job done. And it shows the devil's in the detail, as Bill said. The most important thing is to make a good job of each thing and move along so that you visit it one time. I don't like doing things twice. I don't like repairing things that I've bodged. Bodging something is okay provided it's bodged once and it doesn't need doing again, and that fixed and stays fixed, and that's that. So each of these little bits and bobs I'm doing them as carefully and as methodically as I can to make sure that it's a good job. Now, this just shows how long projects go on for. When you see a project for sale, unfinished project, all the hard major work done, just needs wiring. Now you know why. Now you know why. It's things like this. I've spent well over half the time I've put into this project so far just faffing around with the wiring, and that's how it goes on. There's no way around it. Anyway, to that end, I want to say one more thing quickly before we get cracking, and that is the messages. Now, this project's gathering pace, and I have to say thank you amazingly for all of your astonishing support. I really do. We're getting something like 1,000 hits in a day now on the video, because people are just rolling on looking for the next one, and that's great. It really is. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for that. I know it's making you watch, and I know you're interested in it. The problem that's throwing up is the comments. I do like to answer every comment. We do like to respond to each comment. It means a lot to us. It means a lot because it's response. It's part of the project to us. It's just paying respect to those who've taken the trouble to watch and actually post a nice comment. You know, I've said all that before, so I won't go on about it again. Point being, it's now the tail wagging the dog. 70, 80 messages, come home from work, and it's taken 3-4 hours to go through them all and give a nice response. And I want to do that, but the problem is that's 1 hour I could have spent doing messages in past and 2 hours in the garage in the project. So it's kind of stopping me work. So I'm going to do something a bit different. All I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the messages while it's as busy as it is, and I will click them up. I'll click a like on them. If you see a like on your message, it's because I've watched it and I've clicked a like on it. Each and every one of what I will read every single one, and will comment along the way to the questions and things we do. I'm not moaning. Please don't think we're whining about this, because it's not about that. I just want to keep the project moving. I want to keep the videos the most important part of it. As I said in the previous video, I don't want the videoing of this project to hinder the project, but also at the same point I want the project to be interesting and make the videos watchable. So it's a bit of a balance. So if I don't comment, if I don't leave you a nice comment, it's not because I don't love you, it's just because I want to crack on with things, and I've got so much to do at the minute, and I'm not whining about that either. I just want to get on. It's as simple as that. So to that end, let's crack on with today's fun and games. I've got to connect the battery. I've got to put the terminals on it first and shorten the wire into the correct length, sight the battery in its proper place, and I've got to put a little bit of thin rubber insulation around the battery. Doesn't need much, it just needs a little bit to hold it from rubbing against the battery box itself. I've got 2 drain holes in the battery box, but I want to drill 2 more in, just for good measure, because as somebody said just recently, floating electrics are really not that cool. And hopefully I want to get some light to the back light as well. I want to physically connect it up and see if the thing lights up. That's the most important thing. If it doesn't work, it's no good how cool it looks. And the other thing, finally, I want to try and fire the bike up, because I've messed around with the starter circuit, I've messed around with the starter relay wiring and so on, and the mains lead, and I just want to make sure the thing fires up. Not only that, it hasn't been started for 3 months, so the fuel that's in the carbs is a bit stale. It needs to be blown through, and that would just be a case of firing it up, running it for about 5-10 minutes, and then switching it off. So there you go, stick around, stay tuned. Quite a lot to do today. Let's crack on. See you in a minute. Right, you saw these. That's the 2 earth leads. These are your terminals, and that's the mains lead. So what I've got to do today is, the first thing, before I get involved in this, I just want to poke 2 extra drain holes in the back. Let me show you this. This is what somebody asked, have you got a drain hole in it? Yes, there is. You can see in there, there's a little drain hole in the corner, because this, and also in that corner, you can't see them because they're underneath there, but there's 2 drain holes in that corner there and there, which were all part of the original toolbox that this used to be. But because the thing slopes very slightly forward, obviously any moisture is going to run to the front. So I'm just going to poke a drain hole in that corner and that corner before I go any further, and then get some of this swarf out of there. We've got another hole to drill in the side as well for some more wiring to go in. 6mm ought to do it. It's big enough for water to go through, and that just gives it a drain hole in every corner then. Right down there, the lowest point. That's that one, and the same for that one. That's going to be the back loom for the indicators and the backlight power. So you might as well poke that through there, back as far as I dare. Just poke that through about that height. Somebody said the other day, paint all this before as it will rust. Well, it will do, but where the metal's bolted to the metal, I want bare metal, obviously, and everything around it will get painted. So don't worry. Okay, right, filing that into an oval has a reason. I'll explain why. Just show you this. There you are. Right, these grommets that I'm going to use for this purpose came from here. If you can see in the light, that's the original slot for plugging the bodywork into, and it had these grommets in. Now these grommets are oval to start with, but also making, where is it? There, making that into an oval hole. This wiring's coming in at an angle and it's going through a hole at 90 degrees. So making it an oval, going through an oval grommet, is going to relieve the amount of 90 degree snatch on it, and actually allow it to go through at a slight sort of, I don't know, quite 45, because it's quite thin. Once I've taken this insulation off, there won't be much to that, and it will go through there nicely with some heat shrink over it just to double protect it, and that will go in there. So now I've got to feed that into that hole with a screwdriver and some WD. Right, here we go. A bit of WD. Take the burr off first, and then just feed them in there a lot. Made the hole the same size as the hole in the tank, so it'll fit, and it'll fit, and it won't be pinched because it's oval the same. There we are. That's it. Right. Grace off. There we go. Zoom these outies. There we are. So that's got us a proper little place to put the wire in. That wiring will go through there nicely now and be completely protected and nice and snug as well. Right, move on. Right, now I've got this old remaining length of mountain bike inner tube, which I'm just going to cut up and use as the kind of rubber padding or the rubber lining, because the battery's quite a snug fit as it is, but it doesn't want to be rubbing against the metal. And this stuff's a pretty good material to use, just to keep it from chafing. You know what they say about chafing. Right. Obviously, like all good punchers, if you're going to stick rubber to anything, it needs to be free of this powder which it comes with. And a little bit of brake cleaner on it, gets all that off, or just soap and water, and then scuff it up. Right, now just using a bit of this Serious Glue Evo stuff. It's kind of not super glue, because super glue is too permanent and it goes hard. This stuff is going to be better because it sets like a rubber. It's slightly vulcanized, and I've used it loads of times. When I split the Bandit seat cover at the front where the stitching is, it was perfect. I just spread loads of this on the split, spread it across the split, and it sort of formed a rubber, which is brilliant. So what I'm doing with this is just spreading a copious amount on, and it really does bond extremely well. Let's pop that in the bottom, face down. It's going to form like a carpet or a mat for the battery to sit on. Just spread it around, pop it in, and then move it about. Just spread that glue around, make a sheet of glue rather than a little trail of it towards the front edge. Right, this will just act as a soft insulating pad to stop any vibes from the bike coming through to the battery. To the battery. Right, leave that there, set for a little while. Okay, next thing, start shortening this wiring up. Don't need, because it's colour coded there to there, and I can correspond that, so I don't need to butcher anything to do with that to put it out of the way. Already looking tidier. So first of all, I strip back the wiring, insulation, so I can get to this stuff, and I'm not going to use a blade because you just know. No, I'm not. Just know you're going to cut through something you don't want to cut through and have to start soldering it back together. So it's time for the messy, boring, miserable job of unpicking old wiring insulation. So join me in a minute. It's getting better already. Now that is going to be that's the number plate light. So that just comes on with the tail light. So it's just a live and an earth. So what I'm going to do with that will get cut off and shortened and just kept if I need to light up anything else. It's just a nice source of light for the future. And that is the back light. That's ready to go through there. Right, that's the 3 wires needed for the backlight, just isolated. I'll just heat shrink those up so that they're together. And this will just protect it. I know it's going through a grommet, but it will give it that bit more protection. There we are. So that's the 2 lives and the earth. The live for the brake light, the live for the tail light, and the earth. And incidentally, I want to show you this. This is a happy accident. You get these sometimes. Check that out. That grommet is, like I said, it's the one that went in there, which is oval, and the way that the plastic post went into it was at an angle, so it's kind of made this little grommet have a lean on it this way, so the wiring can come in from that side. And check that out, there's no tightness or pinch to that at all. That's beautiful through there, absolutely smooth as silk. So that will be nice and safe, and it will just get clipped, whoops, sorry, angles, it will just get clipped to there so that it's completely out of the way. And perhaps what I'll do in a minute is drill a couple of tiny little holes and just cable tie that on there as well, so it's completely solid. Anyway, that's the first connections that I can make, and I'm looking forward to that. So let's get them plugged in. Right. Just remind myself which was which. That's the earth. That one. Let's do the earth wire first. Bit of shrinkage. Now, a lot of people talking about soldering against crimping. It seems to be a little bit of a kind of jury on that. Some say crimping's better because it's flexible and it moves, and others say that soldering's better because it's more permanent. But that's permanent, you're not going to uncrimp a crimp, are you? So in my view, I've always taken the view that crimping's good, in my personal opinion. I prefer crimping if you do it properly. You get a decent quality crimp, it's absolutely fine. And just to keep any moisture out, heat shrink it afterwards, it's okay. I just take the view that personally solder joints can crack. I was forced to solder these, unfortunately, which I didn't want to do, purely because I don't like it, on something that's got to turn 90 degrees. But I put enough in there, they've got like a little copper block in there, which is the main connector, and you've got no choice. Alright, I've left myself what I think is probably enough slack there, but we shall see. And that's rock solid, one rock solid earth. Right, now let's do the live. Alright, and just finally on connecting these, it's important if you've got two wires going into a light or a unit of any kind that you might unplug in the future. What I tend to do is make sure that I go, so that brown goes to there and that to there, and what I do is, obviously for common sense, male to female on one wire and then female to male on the other, so that they physically don't fit that way round. I can't fit those two together, so I can't wire those back to front. I've checked which way they go, because that's the wire from the bottom, which is the main light, and the brown lead there goes to the standard light. The brake light is the white lead, so that's going to be the correct way up now. Obviously if you got two males one side, two females the other, you can get them back to front in the future, which is uncool, and you look a bit of a knob. So just connecting these insulating them up. The other thing with all this is I've given myself as little slack as I can get away with, because I don't want any extra wiring, but there'll be a little bit that will just tuck away neatly at the side of the battery here. Just pull it through when it's ready without too much extra slack. Just trying to get my fingers in to heat this. Can get a blow lamp in there. I love bullet connectors over and above the conventional spades. Just prefer them somehow. Make a neat job of that down there. Couple of little holes for a cable tie, I think. All this is to do is to pull this wiring in like that, neatly against the side of the box, so it's as far in that way as it can be to give the battery the space it requires without chafing. I shall put a little pad in between and lock the battery in place so it won't move against it. Generally taking every trouble I can to alleviate further issues, future issues even also. Not too tight. It's not pinching them, it's just holding them gently out of the way. And keep clipping. Another spare bit. Okay, I've taken one of them, which is how they come for your car stereo, and just backed it on itself so it's kind of backwards 90 degree, and then the lead can come straight up then, which is nice and neat. So I've just got to measure where that goes to there, so that can sit neatly on that side as an earth without having to, if it was flat, you've got to have this affair and then you've got extra cable for no reason. It's untidy and that's not good. So just enough to give it, it's got about a curve roughly like that, probably curves, can't see it from there, just curves enough. So I reckon where to cut, because you cut once, think twice, regret it forever. There we go, I reckon there. Just soldering in the end to give it extra strength and extra connection. Soldered solid. There you go, properly crimped in. Solid amundo. Shut that one up. Okay. Now, it's kind of a moment of truth, really. You can see, again, if any of this works. It's going to go bang, it will go bang now. Nope. It's good so far. No sparks, no clicking. Okay. Now, obviously we're not fully there yet, but we are connected. Let's see if it works. Alright, so just a quick look down in there. That's one earth lead, which has got enough slack, but it's not touching the bottom of the box, so it doesn't rub on anything. And the connection in there, that's as good a pinch as you're going to get. I don't need to solder that. That's really, really strong. I've doubled it over, brought the wire up one side, down the other, and it's pinched independently in both. And you can literally hang on that. That's not going anywhere. So that's solid and safe. That one, where are we? Here we are. It's this rancid camera. Focus, you bastard. Oh well, if it won't, it won't. That's soldered on the end there, just to prevent the sort of ends of the wire from corroding. And I'll probably, I don't know, I might get some heat shrink for that, do a bit more, heat shrink it right up to here. But either way, that's in. The wiring down in there, as you can see, it's a little bit untidy for now. That's the two main earth leads, which, as you can see by that, there's a gap there. That's not actually touching that wire at all. There's no connection, that's not rubbing or anything. And there's no point in putting a pad in there, because it's not going to rub through. It's just, I don't want it rubbing, I don't want it touching at all, pad or otherwise. So that will get strapped down. I do intend to put a strap across the battery and hold it down firm, so you can literally turn the bike upside down and it won't go anywhere, and that's probably the best way. But let's see if there be light. Right, final check. Everything's solid. Light or bust. Okay. Ignition on. Turn the ignition off. Right, let there be light.
And drums.
Let there be guitar. Right. Let there be light. Look at that. Actually, it's quite a nice light. And that looks like a good solid connection. There's nothing loose about it. It's not going to cause any problems. And the brake just needs a little touch and it's on. Maybe a slight adjustment on the pedal. Just a little bit. Yeah, it's only on the switch down there, which I'm going to remount the switch elsewhere because I'm not going to use these rear sets, but that's working. There we are, light. Now what I want to do as well, because this has been sat now for 3 months, I just want to fire it up. And I've had all the leads off, I've had the starter solenoid off, I've messed about with the earth from the engine and so on. So I just want to check that this thing still runs. It hasn't been started for a couple of months. I just want to fire it up and see if I get some life out of it. That. Put it on prime, because the fuel in the carbs will start turning to, it will start calcifying. Give it a couple of seconds. This thing always started amazingly well. First turn, which is fire. Give it a couple of seconds, fill the carbs up. There we go. Without running, right up. Right, just going to leave that to run about 4 or 5 minutes. We'll swap the fuel over that's in the carbs and get everything white through, warm all the oil up. I'll be back in a minute. Right, there we are. So I'm just going to poke the battery back on its minder, because obviously it's going to last me until I'm ready to use the bike again. It's a perfectly good battery, it's only a couple of years old. And that will do the trick. So there we are. Load of progress today, and really therapeutic, really satisfying and rewarding stuff. Now the batteries terminals are connected, I just bolt them back in anytime. I know the light works, I can move on from that. That's how I like to do all the jobs that I'm doing on this, one job at a time. Loads of progress today. Thanks for watching Delboy's Garage. This has been number 20, Illumination from the Illuminati. Okay, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Ride safe, and we'll see you for our next one.